everyone. My name is Stevie Eagle E. Welcome to Feeln on the 5th. And we're going to be doing an interview with another fantastic person from Rhythm Africa Festival, Temmy Kayode. Now, I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Again, I say this every time. And this is kind of like a testimony of how far we in the diaspora have come from our roots. We can't even really say the name of our brothers and sisters in Africa very well. We just kind of give up on it, or we have no idea. But they can speak to us and say our names and do everything that that they need to do for us perfectly. So there's a gap that we need to cross here. But anyway, that said, Temmy is our fashion guru, our fashion manager, head of fashion for Rhythm Africa Festival. Welcome, Temmy. Great to see you and have you here today.
Thank you so much, Stephen, and it is a pleasure to join you on this mission. And I want to use these opportunities to thank all the leadership of the REM African Festival for giving me the opportunity to be part of you. So thank you so much, Stephen.
Well, to be honest with you, we just look for the best, right? We look for the best, and you're one of the best. So it wasn't hard for us to work with you or bring you on board, because your history, what you've achieved, everything you've done is amazing. And on that point, please tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to where you are now, if you can, please.
Yes. Thank you so much. My name is Temmy Kayode, but I go by Timmy to make it easy for everyone to pronounce my name. So I'm originally from Ekiti State, Nigeria, the southwest part of the country, Nigeria, and growing up in Ekiti, to be precise, in my elementary school, I developed an interest in fashion. In my father's house, we have my father has a shop where he rented to a fashion designer who is doing the designing work. So after school hours, I had to just go there because out of curiosity, I just taking a look at what they are doing. So in my early stage, in primary three to be precise, I started sewing my school uniform, just picking a random ideas from my father's tenant. So that was how I got into fashion. And since then, the fashion business, a designers has never left me. Anywhere I go in the world, regardless of my profession, I carry fashion there. So in my secondary school, while I'm in school, I also have a side also, which, by that time I know how to sew very, very well. And I already have a client who will bring their school uniform and all of that. So I was doing that to help myself in school and also to help my parents. We all know how it is back home, that our parents need a lot of support. So as a little boy, growing up, so I was able to subsidize my mother's income, my father's income to help the family. So that has been how fast I was able to grow. So I moved from Ekiti State to
How old were you? Sorry, how old were you by this time? Sorry to
I
interrupt.
was
When you were
about 10.
subsidizing
I w-
your family's income.
yes, I was about 10, between 10 and 11 years old, and I was in
You know that. Sorry to interrupt you, but I gotta just. I want you to remember where you left off, because we're
yes.
gonna get back on it. But there's some really important things that you said there that I want to unpack. Right, I'm going to start with what you just said. I mean, I started working supplementing family income at 6 years old. Right.
Yeah.
I started working. I did two jobs. One was I did a milk round. Nobody probably knows what that is anymore. But back in England, back in the days, I had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go meet the Irishman Pat, who had the store, like the general store at the corner, and we used to deliver milk, little milk bottles, some two red silver top, two gold top, two red top, to this dress. And he used to pull one of these electric carts, and I had to he'd go, two over there, Stevie, two over there, Stevie, three over there, one over there, Stevie. I'd run and put the milk there and come back and so forth. 6 years old. And all that money that I made from that wasn't a lot of money. It's small money back in those days, but it had to go to the family.
Yes.
Right. Then after school, I had to come after school, and we have things in the UK called off license, which is where you sell liquor. And I had to work in there, taking the liquor from the deep, dark, dank, nasty basement with full of spiders and stuff, and bring it up to the liquor store, right, and stock the shelves with it and so forth, and do that after school. And then I could go home, and then I could do my homework, and then I could eat and all that kind of stuff. And what you're saying to me is almost the same in your own context, that you had a responsibility at 10 years old.
Yes.
To support the family. And this is something that is just not there anymore with these kids. These kids are not there anymore. Even if they get a job at that age, the money goes into their pocket. It's just for funsy money, right? We grew up with this responsibility for family, to the actual upkeep of the family. Not just that we had responsibility in the home. I had responsibility to look after my sisters. I had to walk them to school. I had to make sure they got back safely. All this responsibility from the age of like six years old.
Yes.
And this lack of responsibility that children have, which parents are afraid to give them now, and the law almost stops them from doing it. Oh, it's slavery or it's abuse, whatever, is what's making all of these kids so weak and stupid and soft and not able to continue or finish anything, and so selfish and narcissistic. And really, we need to start to bring back this responsibility, these little jobs that kids can do from a young age, which lets them know that everything is not just given to them or just comes out of the air. Mobile phone, mom buys it, they break it. Oh, mom fixes it, they break it. Then dad gets them another one. They think dad just pulls it out of his behind. So that was one thing I wanted to mention. You can see in these kids, they're very weak, a lot of them. I don't know so much about Africa, but in the West, they've lost it. And the other thing that you mentioned was about working on the school uniforms, right? And I always remember there were always kids at school. And I don't know if we had a Temmy who was making it for them, or they were making it themselves. But there was always one or two kids at school, because we had uniforms. The uniforms we had at school were pretty cool compared to what they have now. England has good uniforms, right? Or
right.
You had to spend a lot of money on it. My mom hated it, but you had to. And there were always kids in this uniform, for some reason, had a little flair to it. They would do something with the sleeves, or they would do something with the lapel, and they were always like, wow, how you do that? And why? And people would try to copy them, you know what I mean? There was always some kid who had that fashion sense, and some of them went too far, and the school would say, no, you can't put that, you can't do that with the uniform, you know what I mean? But so I can almost imagine in my mind all the kids going, oh man, let's get Temmy to make our uniform look good, or fit us better, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in. So
yes,
interesting.
It was so funny, when you said that, because one of the reasons why I was so popular in my primary three was that when I started making uniform for myself, we play soccer. Soccer in England is soccer, right? So
football. Let's call it football because we're not American, all right? So
yeah, we
let's
call it football. That's correct.
Yeah.
Correct. We call it football. So when after school hour we play football, and our pen, we call it biro. Back home, we call it biro, pen. When we have your pen or pencil.
Yes, we had the biro. Yeah.
Yes, in your school knicker. Back then, by the time you run around to play football, the biro or the pen or pencil, ruler, whatever you have in your pocket, everything got locked in between. So when I started sewing school uniform, what makes my school uniform so unique at that time, to be precise, that was 1986. I was in primary three then. So that was the way I designed my school knicker. It has a very long, tiny pocket that when you put your biro pen inside it, or the pencil or the ruler, no matter how I run or I even do a back plate, it will never get lost. It stay right there. Just to protect my biros, so that my biro doesn't get lost. So along the way, my classmates, everybody saw how I was able to come with the idea, and they started telling their parents. and their parents started, buying their school uniform fabrics material. They started giving it to me to sew. So after school hours, I already have a job to do, and I was making even money than the usual fashion designer who was doing it full time at a time. So
Wow.
I've never gone broke when I was growing up because my life was always busy school. I always have something to do on the side. So that has been part of me to date, that no matter what I'm doing, I always have one or two things side also on the side. Yes.
And
Same.
and then there's another good point that I want to unpack that you said there, to all the people that are watching, the youth in particular, right? That story that Temmy just told us is really important, because what Temmy did, and this is what you need to do in Africa, this is what you need to do anywhere you are in the diaspora, anywhere. If you want to go get ahead in life, it's not just good enough to copy what other people do. You need to recognize what people need. You need to recognize a problem and solve a problem, right? And this is what Temmy did. He recognized the problem, then he solved the problem, and then there was a demand for that. Then he could go through and do all kinds of other things. So when you're young and you're trying to create, whether you're designing, whether you're dealing with AI and programming, whether you're dealing with like making stuff, electronics or anything, or even tables or chairs, whatever you're trying to do, recognize, what do people need? What do people want? What's the mistakes that keep happening? How can I fix it? This is how your brain starts going click, 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 and then use your talent to fix that problem. This is how we as humans have always been. Now we just depend on somebody else to recognize the problem, and we depend on somebody else to fix the problem, and we sit there and just all want to kind of be superstars. But if we all were using our brain trying to recognize problems, wow, can you imagine? It'd be amazing.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with you. So growing up, like I said, I was able to do that throughout my secondary school. I relocated to Lagos, early 90s, and then I was able to work as a stylist to a big fashion designer called Nikki Africana, then. And I worked for her for a couple of years, and I was able to raise some money to open my own store. After opening my own store, I started designing skirt suit, trouser suit to bankers. I have a lot of professionals as customer, and I was still going to school. I was in Polytechnic at the time. And after 3 years, I remember I opened Adonai Fashion School. Adonai Fashion School, I integrated that idea to someone that actually want to go to a fashion school instead of local kind of training. So I brought a lot of ideas to make it more modernized, educational or vocational fashion training, like a fashion school. So that was what I was doing until 2024. On the 2004, when I started traveling to Singapore. It was hard for me in Singapore, but guess what? Because I know the side also fashion designing that I know very, very well. That was how I was able to get a job in Singapore. And the company.
What can I ask you a question? Why Singapore? Why what made you decide to go to Singapore of all places?
Oh, that's a very good question, Stephen. You know how it is in Africa that everybody is just trying to survive and to find a greener pasture, to better my life, also to make a difference in my family's, lives, so that the next generation doesn't go through what my mother, my father, even myself went through when I was growing up. Remember I told you I started hustling when I was in primary three, so it wasn't a joke, like what I opened up my eyes, like the environment I find myself, I just couldn't take it because I have to make difference in my own life. I want to live differently. So every stages of my life, I have to find other means of living legitimately, hustling, all sort of ideas, I can create.
Well, I have to keep your thought where you are right now. I have to unpack some of the things you're saying very quickly. The first thing is what you said last, legitimately.
Yes.
This is the thing, when you're running around trying to hustle and do stuff, it's very easy to get into illegitimate things, into immoral things, into things that exploit or trick people, especially in certain parts of the world. It's a normal thing. And it's very hard for you to stay away from that. And this is something I want to teach people. Be straight, be honest, do legitimate stuff, work the hard way, because the easy way is always going to lead to a problem. It's going to lead to your destruction in the end. All right. Many are the ones that take the wide road leading to destruction. Few are the ones that take the narrow road leading to salvation. And this is kind of like a way of living. Do things right, even if it's hard, but stay on the right side of things morally. Like, as the Bible says, God doesn't like false measures, right? If you say you're giving somebody 10 pounds of fish, make sure it's 10 pounds of good fish. Don't give them 10 pounds of tail and 10 pounds of rancid egg, head or something. Do it right, because it's so easy to just try to make quick money. And as Temmy is telling us, he didn't do that. That the struggle was to do things legitimately. Yeah. And I really appreciate that you said that. And the other part which I want to unpack, please remember where you left off, was that you said you were trying to do things so that your mother and like to help your mother and father, so people didn't go through people didn't go through, and that same thing to help the next generation. But in a sense, the way that you frame that is very different to the way that people in the West have framed it, right? Because people in the West, you have mothers and fathers, young mothers and fathers, and they say, I don't want my kids to go through what I went through, right? They're thinking, I want my kids to have everything. I don't want my kids to go through what I went through. So they try to soften the world for their kids in all kinds of ways. But you didn't say that. You said, what my mother and father went through, not your kids.
Yeah.
What your mother and father went through, the people that came before you, you saw their struggle and how you had to help them. And you want to encourage and to help the next generation of parents in your family, right? Not so much take everything, not so much make life for your kids like a cushy movie, but to basically make them into good parents, give them some foundation as good parents so that they could be good parents to their children the same way. And your parents were good parents, but you had to still work. You had to have responsibility, right? So remember these things. These are the lessons of life that are important and fundamental in building anything good and sustainable. Sorry, Temmy, sorry. I had to say that. You crack on. You crack on with where you left off.
Thank you so much. So
Singapore.
Yes. The bottom line is that, we need to bring back our traditional values, because what's, we growing up, like I said, I was able to see a whole lot of things, the societal, the politics played out everywhere, but I was able to scrape through. It wasn't an easy journey, but believing in myself, in my dream, and I worked very, very hard for it. So I was able to, God helped me to, to escape through all the hardship, and I'm still working very, very hard. So what I was trying to say earlier was, because I was curious as a child, and in my primary school, I kind of dive into tailoring. My father, my mother did not even send me to go and do that. It's out of curiosity, and I developed the skill by myself, and I take it further. So when I get to Singapore, in order, which was your question earlier, that why did we go there? It's just to survive, to make sure my children doesn't go through some of the things I went through, and even my parents and all of that. So I was able to get a job in the fashion industry in Singapore. That was how I started my career in the diaspora. Living in Singapore, in Japan, and some other part of the country before I relocated here in about 16 years ago.
So a question is that so basically what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that even with having your own fashion store in Nigeria, even with lots of people wanting what you did and everything that was going on, it's still you still couldn't make enough to look after your family. You had to go abroad to do it. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that it's not necessarily that you have to go to abroad before you can make it in Africa or in Nigeria. But as an individual, I'm a very unique the way God created me. When you understand who you are as a person and you want more, you don't want to settle for less. So the next thing to do is to keep running after your passion where you want to be, where you can get more opportunities. So the reason why I decided to leave Nigeria when I had the opportunity is to have a better opportunities that I can build so quick. Back in the days in Nigeria, like I said, I do have own my own fashion store, fashion school. I was doing pretty well for myself at that age, because at that age, at that age, I can tell you a lot of my age mates then, they are still living under their parents' house, feeding their parents, feeding them, their mother feeding them. At that age, I was helping my mother, my father, to send my younger ones to school. I was able to send them to high school, secondary school, even throughout their, when I travel, help them to graduate from university. And by the special grace of God, I moved here when 16 years ago. My mother has been living with me here 11 years ago. And somebody was telling me yesterday, I didn't quickly acted on my mother's, health care back in 11 years ago. My mother could have passed away. But today, my mother, she's beautiful. She's living good. She lives here with me 11 years here in the state of Maryland. So these are the things this was the reason why I was running, just to make sure I can give a better life for me, my children. My father also is 80 years old. By the special grace of God, I was able to give him a very qualitative health care that keeps him alive by the special grace of God, and he's looking good. So if I don't run away to chase my dream where I can have the opportunity, because at that time it was so difficult, even till today it was so difficult in Nigeria to for ordinary person to make it, legitimately. So I have 6 children. How would they be able to survive schools? My son now is in university, almost finished. He's working, making his own money and all of that. And not be able to do all of that, if I haven't been able to look for the better opportunity for me, But still, a lot of people still make it legitimately in Africa, in Nigeria.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with Kumbi, and it's funny that you should say that. And we basically came to the conclusion that sometimes we look at things from a neo-colonial perspective, right? Or we look at things from a colonial perspective and the way Africans were abused and slavery and were victims and this, that, and the other. I get that, and that's true. Right, but also we have to look at the fact that Nigeria has been independent for, I don't know, since 1950s or something, and they've had many presidents, many people come in. They've had a chance to build their own infrastructure. Yes, we know that the colonial powers have had their hands in the pot and around them, but they haven't improved life much for Nigerians. I have many Nigerian friends who are not living in the big cities, who have no electricity, they have no water, they're always struggling, the lights always going off, the food is expensive. If they have a mobile phone, their mobile phone bill is more expensive than UK or America. And because they have to use data for everything. And you think to yourself, all of these Nigerian leaders and people in power, what have they actually done? They've had, the amount of time that they've had is, you should be able to turn it around a little bit. I mean, if you even look at, like what Abraham Traore has been able to do in Burkina Faso in like 5 or 6 years, he's turned it around so much.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's perfect, but what I'm saying to you, because he's trying to actually do it. Whereas in Nigeria, you've got the smartest, I would say one of the smartest set of African people, or people in the world generally, right?
Yeah.
You have a great workforce. You have a youth, so much youth with energy and whatever, and still, it's a mess. The most of the country is an absolute mess, and there comes a time when you can't blame colonialism or slavery or whatever. There comes a time when you have to take responsibility,
I
right?
totally agree with you. If I could, yes, I totally agree with you, Stephen. If I could, come in. You see, many of our race, especially black people, and some of us, stand to continue to blame the colonial masters, even with the current situation in Africa and Nigeria, in general, as a black race. And I said to myself, some of the things that the African leaders, the presidents, the anyone with the leadership position in Africa or in Nigeria, what they are doing to us or they are doing to their own people is even worse than what the colonial master did back in how many years ago. And that is the truth. And I'm trying to be diplomatic in my language, but the Bible said, "The truth shall set you free." We have to come in a certain age or in a certain time that we are right now, that the truth have to be spoken and the truth have to set us free. Because I've seen so much in my entire life growing up, even now, what is happening in African nations or black nations, and these people still tend to blame colonial masters. Meanwhile, we have some other countries that the same colonial masters were the ones that colonizing, and they were able to be honest with themselves and to start building their country where they started putting the interests of their people first. You know,
Well. And just to mention, I mean, just one. I mean, everybody's watching the Sahel, but I mean, I think even a better example, whether you like them or do not like them, is look at Rwanda. Rwanda was completely, literally, was a genocide, a killing field,
yes.
a complete mess that in one sense makes the Holocaust look like I'm not trying to compare, but it was as bad as, if not worse, right?
Yes.
And you could even say that about the things that happened in the Congo, the Belgium Congo, but we won't go into that, right? But Rwanda was completely destroyed, and look how Kagame has turned that around, right? Look how he's made it like the kind of Silicon Valley of Africa. Look how he's brought the lives of the people up.
Yes.
Right. I'm not saying I agree with everything that anybody does in leadership, right? Because you're never going to do. It's a tough place to be. But what I'm saying to you, you can see how that country has come from completely nothing. Nigeria was never in that position in the first place. It always had things going on, but it was never devastated like Rwanda was devastated, right? And it still hasn't gone forward. You still have this massive gap between the rich and the poor. You have so much corruption, so much illegitimate business, so much lack of education, lack of opportunity, lack of care, and corruption, and you can't keep blaming that on neo-colonial powers. At some stage, you got to look at yourself, as Michael Jackson said, looking at the man in the mirror. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm the problem, right? I'm the problem. And I think that this is something that is fundamental to going forward. As long as you still have this mentality of victimhood and blaming, which the colonial powers want you to have. Oh, let's give you a loan. Oh, let our soldiers help you to defend yourself. Oh, let's show you how to grow food. Oh, let's show you how to do your business. Oh, let's show you how to do technology. They just want you to keep saying, like in Oliver Twist, please, sir, I want some more. They just want you to always be begging them for something, and you got to stop that. And really, this is the mentality that is destroying a lot of progress in certain communities, in certain countries, in certain regions of Africa. I'm sorry, you can carry on.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you.
So, okay. So anyway, we get where you've come from. We get what drives you, because I wanted to ask but I can see what drives you: responsibility, empathy, love, care, for your family, and this dream to not just accept. People get it twisted with God in the Bible, right? They get it twisted that God wants you to just accept everything. No, he wants you to be humble. He's not necessarily saying strive to get riches. But if you look at the parable with the talents, right? He wasn't happy with the person who came back with the exact amount of talents that he was given, right?
Yes.
That person could just, he was happy with the person who doubled the talents or who went and made more from what he was given. That's what Jehovah wants us to do. He knows us from before we're born. He knows us in the womb. He knows you're going to be a great designer. You're going to be a great football player. You're going to be a great computer engineer. You're going to be a great plumber. You're going to be, and you can be amazing and help people and help your community. You're going to be this. I know you can do this, right? And whenever we do something to the best of our ability, that is actually preaching. We don't realize that. But when we're actually doing something to the best of our ability and being honest and legitimate, that is praising to Jehovah. That is preaching. That's like a prayer,
Absolutely.
right? When we do,
Absolutely.
exactly. And when we do things half the way we can do it, and we don't do our best, and we don't fulfill our destiny or our capabilities, and we cheat and lie, that is the devil that we are now working for. Even if we're not doing anything bad, he likes it when we do that.
Yeah.
If you got the devil on one side and you got God on the other side, like you remember the old Tom and Jerry cartoon, you got the little devil mouse, you get the little angel mouse, on the shoulder saying, do this, and the one saying,
Right.
don't do that. If you can just imagine that in your head and you're not doing your best at something, whether it be making an omelet or making a designer t-shirt or whatever it is you're doing, if you're not doing your best, you got the devil on one side, you got God on the other side, who's happy?
That's the question.
Who's happy? Who's like, oh, that's okay, right? And who's not happy? So every time we do our best, every time we do the best that we can in everything that we can do, right? Who are we making happy, right? God.
God, yes. God.
So now coming to the Rhythm Africa Festival, right? We are. You are our guy. It's obvious that you can see, like I said, that you're the right guy for the job because you know all the bits of what it takes to succeed.
Thank you.
Right? And to do this well. And your fashions and your designs and stuff are absolutely, I love them, and I'm hoping that I can get a whole wardrobe from you when when the time is right. I want a whole Temmy wardrobe, right?
Yes.
You have your own businesses now. You're in Maryland. You have your own school situation set up.
Yeah.
You're doing so much for the community, and now you're with Rhythm Africa Festival. We're doing a fashion show. We're doing the auditions for models, whether they be professional or not. We're doing auditions for other designers and people like this to be a part of the fashion show. And we're going to show this fashion show in a unique way, not just, there's different types of fashion show, but it's going to be in our kind of amphitheater, and the models and the designs will be amongst the audience, and people will be able to see and feel it. And the fashion show is not just going to be integrated, right? But I want you to tell me about your vision, because you're heading this up, your vision for the fashion show, the auditions, what we're looking for, what you expect, and what you want people to get from the fashion show that we're going to do at Rhythm Africa Festival.
Yes, at the REM African Festival, our fashion show, the way I presume and how it's gonna be, for me, number one thing is the success of the entire show from different departments, because I actually appreciate your leadership in everything that you do, and everything is very, very articulate. So the fashion aspect of the REM African Festival, we are not looking for a perfect people, but we are just looking for people who are passionate about where they want to be. So we are not discriminating age or professions. You don't have to have prior experience before you can get into fashion modeling industry. So if you know you are a fashionista as an individual between the age of 16 to 40, and you can apply either female, male, but you have to have the passion that, you know what, this thing that I'm about to get into, I'm going to make something out of it in life. So, what the REM African Festival will be doing, we are going to train you, which is part of the empowerment for the REM African Festival will be giving the youth on ground in Nigeria. So there are so much opportunities in the fashion world today, and in every other department that the REM African Festival has already. So one of the things that makes me happy when I read more about the entire idea about the REM African Festival, the core value is empowerment, empowering the youth, reaching out to the youth, the communities, which is one of the core values for anyone or any corporation, especially when you have the opportunity to make an impact positively in people's life. So let me tell you a little bit about what I do here in the United States. I can tell you I am one of the largest, individuals who bring Africans together within District of Columbia, Virginia, Maryland. Anytime I'm hosting African cultural fashion heritage here in the state of Maryland, sometimes we recorded about 800 people under one roof. Everybody will dress beautifully. You can see the joy, on people's face, the enthusiasm. Under my modeling platform over here, I have about young lady from the ages of 12 to possibly 45 who are under my modeling platform. Some of these individuals, they are not professional when they started with me. So we trained them over the years, but now some of them have a very great portfolio that they can show. They can present to any international agencies to see what they've been doing for the last 4 years. So opportunity could come from there. So my organization here is also not profit 501c3 because I'm empowering the youth either from the high school, from the college. I'm reaching out to them, I'm giving them a platform. I'm also helping the African businesses by bringing them together, for people to know more about their products and services. And also we use my platform also to, to to help any Africans or whoever that are running. That it's not necessarily that it's African, because we need to get the issue of African. We need to get rid that all life matters. We are living in a society that all life matters. It's not about black life matters or white life matters. That I don't see it that
Exactly.
way. Right now we are already blend into each other. We are living as one, so all life should be matter. So anyone that need more opportunities or something that we can do together, regardless of your color, your whatever you do, the what matters is the passion. So I'm looking forward to REM African Festival. So for an individual who want to be part of it, this is an opportunity for you to showcase your talents, what you have passion for in fashion. Fashion industry today in our today's world is almost $2 trillion. It's almost $2 trillion that we spend worldwide annually in fashion industry, either by the glasses that I'm wearing, what you are wearing, the clothes I'm wearing, the t-shirt, the shoes, the cologne, the fragrance, the just name it. We have so much the cosmetics. We have so much under fashion industry that our youth today can go into it. So I want to thank you and Dr. Sumbo, Monique, every leadership in this organization that are coming to Africa to make a difference in Nigeria, and the empowerment that we are giving to our communities as a whole. So you are interested in our audition. First of all, you have to have passion for it. experience not required, but we will train you when the time comes. And when you sign our applications, you have to keep every date. So the date for the rehearsal, all the rules and regulations must be obeyed. So anyone that doesn't obey the rules, we have to get you out because we are not looking for unserious people. We are into business here. So far that's what I can give you. Except you have any follow up questions, Stephen.
Well, yeah, just to reiterate, that we're going to be holding auditions not just for models, as Temmy told you, but also for designers. So if you're a designer in Lagos, Nigeria, even in the diaspora, we can if Temmy loves what you're doing, we'll find a way to get you to the Rhythm Africa Festival. But if you're in Nigeria, specifically in the Lagos area, and you're a designer and you want to showcase your stuff and your designs in any kind of fashion. Could be hats, could be shoes, could be if you said it could be sunglasses, it could be whatever. If you want to showcase your designs at the Rhythm Africa Festival, get in contact with us. The details are below. Join our auditions or submit your designs and fashions to Temmy, and we will get in contact with you and start to put things together. If you want to model, and I'm not sure, we might have kids fashions as well. So it could be starting from, as Kemi said, 12 years old, but obviously you need your parents' permission up to whatever age, because everybody needs fashion. I don't care if you're 99, you want to look good, right? So at the end of the day, right, if you've got a passion for modeling and you want to get involved, even if you're not a professional model, please look at the details below, contact us, and join our auditions in Lagos if you can. And if you're in the diaspora, submit a video or something to tell us, I really want to get there, I really want to be there. We're looking for people who want to be there. We're not looking for people who are just looking to do this. If you want to be there, and you want to learn and you want to get in this industry and you want to model, then look at the details below. Your stuff will go to Temmy. You're in great hands, and you can be part of the Rhythm Africa Festival. Okay, so basically, Temmy, I want to close. I want to have more conversation with you because your life is so interesting. There's so much we can learn from it, and also we on Feeln on the 5th. We want to be able to see some of your events, so we'll be broadcasting some of your events live to the world as well as the Rhythm Africa Festival. You will see a lot of Temmy's work there, but we'll be doing other things with Temmy. What would you want people who come to the festival when they see your fashion event, our fashion event, which you're managing, you're putting together, you're producing? What do you want them to come away with? What would you like them to come out of there feeling, thinking, or understanding when they see the Rhythm Africa Festival fashion events?
Yes, what I would like everyone that comes to any of our events, because the event must be an event of values, and is the impact, is the memory. Memory in what sense? That we, what we do, our products matters, our services matters, our culture and traditions matters. So these are the things I want our audience, our fans, and people that are not even in within our disposal, who want to learn more about our culture and traditions, can also be educated by our traditions, culture, and values. So these are the things that I would like people to go home with. The memory of, look at what I'm wearing here, Stevie. This is called Adire, and this is handmade fabrics from Lagos, Nigeria, from Abeokuta, and this Adire can live for so many years. And we black people, I want to say black people now, the reason why I'm using that language is that we don't value our home so much. And our dollars, money, regardless of your country denominations, currencies, that currency doesn't go round. We don't transfer business within ourselves enough. Why is that? Because we value the other side of the product more than our own. So imagine a country, let me use Nigeria as an example, that Nigerians as an individual do billions of dollars worth of businesses with China every year. There's nothing China is producing if we are serious minded in Africa or in Nigeria that we cannot even start doing or producing in our own country. That billions of dollars that been signed to China for in exchange to products shipping down, that money can stay in our country, Nigeria, and that will bring a lot of prosperities. There will be economic stabilities. Young people can get more opportunities by going into businesses by producing small products or rendering services. You know, so why am I saying that? An event like this, an empowerment event like this that bring communities together, it's not just for we to enjoy and eat and go drink. No, we want the youth to take something out of this. What can you take out of this? After this event, where your life is going, what will the ideas that you are going to get from this event? How are you going to make use of it? By turning the idea into enterprise. So how can the black nations in the world start producing within their own countries and their own money being circulated within themselves? So that is what other countries were able to do. Like China, their money doesn't go outside enough. Their money is within their own country. That is why they are one of the super world, country that have that economic stabilities today.
On that note, Temmy, I'm really looking forward to the festival. I ask everybody to please, look at the details below in this podcast so you know how to audition and how to get involved. I want to thank Temmy. Temmy, you see the name. I'm going to get better at these African names because I'm an African. I want to get better at them. I want to thank you, Temmy, for everything that you've brought to us today, the knowledge, the wisdom, and we're looking forward to your passion in this event. Thank you so much for your time today.